Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel.
App Venture Lab, Dr. Nat Melius, in English, learning and improving.
Hi there. This time, we will be discussing two issues in relation to the role of the presiding officer of the Local Sanggunian. But first, if you are new to this channel, please do subscribe. Again, the first issue is whether or not the presiding officer of the Local Sanggunian, upon relinquishing the chair of being a presiding officer, has the right to participate in a deliberation. And the second issue is whether or not the presiding officer be allowed to stay in the premises upon relinquishing his chair. The first query, as stated, pertains to whether the presiding officer of the Local Sanggunian has the right to participate in deliberations upon relinquishing the chair, and if so, up to what extent. To address this query, the internal rules of procedure of the Sanggunian are primarily governed by a hierarchical order of parliamentary rules. The sources of these rules include the 1987 Constitution, the Local Government Code, judicial decisions, adopted internal rules, parliamentary practice, parliamentary authors, and customs and usages. Considering the 1987 Constitution, it is noted that the parliamentary rules provided therein are applicable only to Congress and cannot be applied to Sanggunians. Therefore, attention is turned to the Local Government Code, where parliamentary procedures and rules can be found from Section 48 to Section 59. Regarding the presiding officership, Section 49 outlines the powers and limitations of the presiding officer, while Section 50 deals with the organization of committees and the Sanggunian's power to adopt additional rules consistent with the law and judicial decisions. Notably, Section 49 and 50 of the Local Government Code do not explicitly prohibit or allow a presiding officer to relinquish the chair and participate in deliberations. In other words, the code remains silent on this matter. Moving on to judicial decisions, no Supreme Court ruling has been found specifically addressing this issue. Consequently, the next step is to examine the adopted internal rules. If the adopted internal rules allow the presiding officer to relinquish the chair and participate in deliberations, those rules should be observed. Conversely, if the adopted internal rules prohibit the presiding officer from relinquishing the chair and participating in deliberations, those rules should be followed. However, if the adopted internal rules do not address the matter, parliamentary practice becomes relevant. Under well-established principles in parliamentary practice, the presiding officer is permitted to relinquish the chair and may even participate in deliberations. Nonetheless, once the deliberation is concluded, the presiding officer must reassume the chair for the purpose of conducting the vote on the specific matter at hand. As to the second query, which relates to whether the presiding officer, upon relinquishing the chair, should be allowed to stay in the premises, as previously mentioned, the adopted internal rules are the primary source for addressing this query. If the adopted internal rules permit the presiding officer to stay in the premises upon relinquishing the chair, that should be followed. However, in the absence of specific rules, parliamentary practices can be applied. According to parliamentary practice, the presiding officer may be allowed to remain in the premises until the time comes for them to reassume their role as presiding officer when the body is ready to proceed with the voting process. In conclusion, the legal opinion provided indicates that the Local Government Code does not explicitly address the participation of the presiding officer in deliberations upon relinquishing the chair. The specific rules outlined in the adopted internal rules should be followed if they exist. In the absence of such rules, parliamentary practice allows the presiding officer to participate in deliberations but requires them to reassume the chair before conducting the vote. Similarly, regarding the presiding officer's presence in the premises upon relinquishing the chair, the adopted internal rules should be consulted. In the absence of specific rules, parliamentary practice permits the presiding officer to stay until the voting process commences. That's it. The discussion and information provided is for general information purposes only, which is based from the DILG Opinion Number 14 Series of 2005. It is strongly recommended consulting with a qualified professional or seeking appropriate lawyer for specific advice tailored to your individual circumstances. Tronos is now available in Play Store. Download the app now and visit our website at www.appventurelab.com. Please don't forget to follow, like, and share para lagi kayong updated. Thanks for watching. Bye!